welcome to the SVG-TV news for Tuesday, November 9th. I'm Khalil Keita with the details. Yesterday, the Ministry of Health, Wellness and the Environment signed an agreement with the Republic of China, Taiwan, to improve the country's public health emergency preparedness and capabilities. Health Minister Sinclair Prince said the $1.8 million project includes training of personnel in emergency response.
The incidents in St. Vincent and the Grenadines. Of course, we're going through one of the most challenging periods of our history, and that has to do with the coronavirus 19. And at this point is a good time for us to be looking at how we deal with infectious diseases and public health emergencies here in St. Vincent and the Grenadines. We just got some ventilators from the government of Taiwan, and now we have a project that is costing some $1.8 million. It will last over a 4-year period. It will include considerable training for stakeholders in our emergency response here in this country: police, firemen, health service workers, etc. And we also will be getting some equipment as a result of that. So we thank the government of Taiwan once again for coming to our assistance in our response to these problems, these challenges, which we no doubt will continue to face as time goes along.
Taiwan's ambassador to SVG, His Excellency Peter Lan, said he is looking forward to working more closely with SVG in its fight against COVID-19 and other emergency responses.
Thank you very much. I think Minister Prince just outlined the importance and the content of this very important project, which is called the Public Health Emergency Response System Enhancement Project. I think we planned this already for quite a long time, and it's going to be a long-term project to assist and enhance the public health system here in St. Vincent and the Grenadines. And as the minister pointed out, this is a challenging time, but of course it also shows that the timely need for such a project, and we're glad that this project can be signed and start to be executed at this time. We look forward to work even more closely with the government of St. Vincent and the Grenadines.
Meanwhile, 10 ventilators worth $330,000 were handed over to the Milton Cato Memorial Hospital from the government and people of Taiwan. Speaking at the handing over ceremony, the Taiwanese ambassador said the donation of ventilators will provide some much-needed support to the hospital service, which continues to deal with new COVID-19 infections and hospitalizations.
We have constantly have great communication with the Ministry of Public Health and also the hospitals here. As you know, that we have a technical mission which also work on the public health sectors. And when we learned about the great need in response to the insurgence of the COVID-19 cases, we take a swift decision to donate 10 best quality of ventilators, and we managed to ship them here at the end of October. Hopefully that will greatly help the patients that's in need. In the past, we've donated several batches of surgical masks, oxygen concentrators, and also other equipment in response to not only the COVID-19 but all other diseases. I think public health is one of the sectors that we should continue to work on in terms of our bilateral relationships with St. Vincent and Grenadines, especially keep in mind that this year is the 40th anniversary of the diplomatic ties between the two countries. So I think it's just fair that we are continuing doing this.
Ventilators were handed over to Minister of Health Sinclair Prince, who thanked the people and government of Taiwan for their continued support to SVG, as he noted the importance of receiving ventilators in these trying times.
Taiwan has always been in partnership with us in the Ministry of Health, Wellness and the Environment. And this partnership, this intervention has intensified during our special period where we underwent problems with the volcanic eruption and, of course, COVID-19. These 10 ventilators are the latest in the intervention in assisting us in coping with the surge that we've had over the past few weeks here, the special surge. They will be put immediately into service at the Milton Cato Memorial Hospital, at Argyle, our isolation facility, and wherever else they are needed. They will go a long way in helping us in our response to COVID-19. And we hope that the hospital workers, the people who are going to use these machines, will be very pleased that we have them at this time. We have small resources here in St. Vincent and the Grenadines, and any little bit will help. Very, very, very grateful. I'd like to thank Ambassador Lam. When he came first, he said he would like to help in any way, and he decided to do this, and look so quick how quickly we got it. We're very, very grateful to Taiwan again for coming to our aid in this regard.
Prime Minister Dr. Ralph Gonsalves has made yet another appeal to frontline workers to get vaccinated as the November 19th deadline for them to do so approaches. The Prime Minister made the appeal on Star Radio yesterday morning while speaking on the new protocols for travelers entering the United States.
Don't want to take the vaccine to earn their living as important, whether you're in the police, the public service, the customs, immigration, a hospital, prisoners. But yet, they will go and take the vaccine to go and be a visitor in the United States.
Yep.
And some of the very church people who given a wrong reading, in my view, of the theological questions involved, that they will take the vaccine to go to America. No, I am asking the people at the port and the airport who are lagging behind with the vaccination, please take the vaccine. I'm asking the nurses, the police, the prison officers, the immigration and customs, forget about this thing about threatening the government. Threatening the government, saying, well, if so many persons stay away. But why would you want to stay away?
Mortgage debts, household responsibilities, and other financial obligations have pushed several of the nation's teachers to take the COVID-19 vaccines. So says the president of the SVG Teachers Union, Oswald Robinson, who said what teachers and other frontline workers are going through is sinful and very unfortunate.
Teachers who said that they have mortgage and other financial obligation, and they may have to succumb to that. It's very unfortunate because you're doing something against your will, and it is sinful, because you're not really supposed to go against your conscience. Nobody's supposed to coerce you into doing something that violates your conscience, your fundamental right to choose. But that is the situation. We are monitoring it very closely. We are prepared. We have advised our teachers to go to work, show up to work. If you want to take the vaccine, take it. That's your choice. That's your body.
Robinson, however, noted that there is a significant amount of teachers who are yet to take the jab and will not take it, no matter what the consequences may be.
There is a significant number of teachers who are unvaccinated, and we are still getting feedback from them that they do not intend to be vaccinated against their will. If they have to take the vaccine, it must be voluntarily, right? So a large number of our teachers are adamant that they are willing to take the risk of continuing to do their work, both online and face-to-face, as the case may be, and let the authorities fire them. And if it gets to that point, then the other recourse we have is legal action.
The SVG-TU president says that the union continues to stand with all teachers in these challenging times.
Those who do not wish to take the vaccine based on religious grounds and also on medical grounds, and there's also another category of teachers who it's not really based on medical nor religious, but they just decide they don't want to take it. And that is unfortunate that the SRNO did not cater for that right. Your right to just an idea or a thought, that is not being upheld by the state. They throw that out the window. Because it's not everybody who belongs to a religion, per se, and it's not everybody who would have a religious or a medical persuasion or reason for not taking the vaccine. So I am saying again, that's a crisis. because you are tampering with the fundamental rights and freedom. You're tampering with people's democracy, and we didn't expect that the state would reach to this public sector workers in this country to show to the authorities that we are not giving up based on what our membership would have said to us. They give us a mandate to take the government to court if you force them to do something against their will, and we would be pursuing that.
Teachers who have been categorized as frontline workers have been given until November 19th before vaccination is required to enter school premises, except for those who have been exempted from the vaccination in accordance with the Statutory Rules and Orders 2021. And Robinson said he is concerned with comments made by Ministry of Health officials pertaining to the detection of COVID-19 positive cases in schools. On NBC Radio's Face-to-Face program last Friday, Health Promotions Officer Shanika John says that once there is a strong adherence to protocols, if a positive case is detected at a school, this does not mean that the entire school should be closed. Commenting on the matter, Robinson said prevention is always better than cure, and that all measures must be taken to ensure the safety of the nation's children.
Ministry of Health said that if there's a case of COVID that is identified at an institution, they said that the entire institution should be closed down, and then you should be quarantined and contact tracing and that sort of thing. But now we're hearing that if it's a class, it's the class that should be closed. But you can't isolate the class from the entire school population because the same children use the washrooms. Okay, there are areas in the school that the children would still go. They go to the water faucets. Some schools have water faucets which are separate from the washroom facilities. Okay, what about the schools that do not have separate classrooms? It's everything in one. How are you going to make the separation?
The Teachers Union president says from his understanding, at least 4 schools have already been impacted by positive COVID-19 cases since the start of face-to-face instructions.
That we got reports about 4 schools. It may be more now. I didn't pay attention to the news this morning, but over the last couple of days, we have had it seems to be Leeward within the Kingston suburb area and Morocco and North Windward. I'm not going to identify any school because of I don't want any discrimination and any stigmatization of principal and teachers and students, right? And even sometimes when you try to dig deep to ask certain questions, there are some people who are very meticulous not to say anything.
Former Prime Minister Sir James Mitchell continues to receive treatment at the intensive care unit at the Queen Elizabeth Hospital in Barbados. Sir James was airlifted there last week after being diagnosed with dengue fever and then pneumonia. A statement issued by his family on Monday said the 90-year-old Caribbean statesman continues to receive excellent care from the doctors and nurses at the Queen Elizabeth Hospital. Preliminary studies have been completed for the port modernization capital project at Rose Place in Kingstown. This is according to Prime Minister Dr. Ralph Gonsalves, who on radio yesterday said he was advised that funding for the project is being gathered through the Caribbean Development Bank, which is in negotiation with bidders looking to get the contracts for the projects. The Prime Minister further noted that the government is aiming to deliver 47 houses for the persons who are to be relocated from Rose Place to Lomans Bay to facilitate the capital project.
Just got a report. We may be able to deliver, it seems, as though 47 of the houses by Christmas.
Wonderful.
Not 49. I'm pushing them to see why we can't do the 49. And I had a discussion with Lauren who is the person who's heading the project administratively. And a lot of background work is being done.
Meanwhile, Prime Minister Gonsalves spoke on the success of the Joshua Shopping Centre at Argyle, noting that a number of persons have been sending applications to national properties to set up business in the area. He further noted that he intends to complete the anchor of the project, that of a new hospital, before any other buildings, as there is a layout and design for the proposed city at Arnisvale.
People are seeing the success of the Arnisvale Center, and we had given permission to build on a small part, make that thing look like a L, and we put the temporary schools there because those schools are easy to move. People are sending applications to national property to put down particular kind of fast food restaurants, to put down supermarket. And I keep telling everybody, we are not doing it that way. We have one chance to get it well. We have to design it properly. We had a preliminary concept design. You have to do a lot more things. We need to get the anchor project in, which would require certain kind of structural work, like drainage and all the rest of it. The anchor project being the hospital. And because when you come off Castle Hill, I don't want to see a rat tackle something till there. And after I did, I'm gone. This is what kind of thing Ralph will leave.
Yeah.
What kind of thing he plan and leave doing? Like how you get bad mode for this municipality in the center of big strong market.
Absolutely.
Minister with responsibility for climate change-related matters, Carlos James, who is leading SVG's delegation to the 26th United Nations Climate Change Conference of the Parties, COP26, in Glasgow, Scotland, addressed the forum today and called for urgent action to avert a climate change crisis by reducing global emissions. Minister James, who also holds the portfolios for tourism, civil aviation, sustainable development and culture, told the forum that failure to take the necessary steps to address the issue will endanger the 72 million people living in small island developing states.
On the required targets and the measures is a death sentence for our people. Negotiating your way out of this responsibility is simply not an option. Mr. President, my country, St. Vincent and the Grenadines, continues to do its part both nationally and internationally as a non-permanent member of the UN Security Council in the global fight against climate change. We do so with the experience of our Prime Minister, Dr. the Honorable Ralph E. Gonsalves, leading our charge in this forefront. However, new and additional finance, technology transfer, and capacity building support are required to ensure we can fully implement the Paris Agreement.
James further welcomed the commitment of some developed countries to scale up financial pledges to deal with the impacts of climate change and urged other world leaders to deliver on the outstanding $100 billion per annum commitment.
This fight requires the inclusive action and meaningful participation of everyone. And therefore, we commend Taiwan's efforts to legislate climate targets, and they should be also here at the negotiating table. Finally, Mr. President, COP26 must be remembered as the summit where we completed the Paris rulebook. Anything less will be unacceptable. Climate change, Mr. President, is the defining global challenge of our time. We cannot squander decades of hard work. The stakes are too high, and time is quickly running against the clock.
The government minister further spoke of the challenges that SVG faced this year, noting that this has been the most challenging period of the country's post-colonial history.
With the challenges precipitated by the COVID-19 pandemic, the devastation caused by the explosive eruption of the La Soufrière volcano, and severe floods and landslides due to more extreme weather phenomena. These challenges underscore our intrinsic vulnerabilities and threaten our very existence. Mr. President, the most pertinent questions for our people are the following. How long will aspirational declarations and diplomatic maneuvering delay the concrete actions required to ensure our planet remains below 1.5-degree target? Will developed countries acknowledge that insufficient funding for adaptation measures results in catastrophic loss and damage to SIDS.
The Eastern Caribbean Central Bank ECCB has rolled out its children's radio program, dubbed ECCB Children's Connection, here in SVG, on NBC Radio from this Saturday, November 13th from 9 a.m. The ECCB Children's Connection radio program is a 30-minute production for children aged 5 to 12 and features stories, lessons, quizzes, and wise words. Children will also have the opportunity to win fun prizes. Presenter at NBC Radio, racer Bruce Lyle, will host the program with her co-hosts Jordan Hunt and Jarrell Gilbert, grade 5 students of the C.W. Prescott Primary School. The radio program is an extension of the ECCB Primary School Mentorship Program, which began in 2007. Through this program, the ECCB staff, along with officers from various government agencies and the private sector, conduct sessions with students from grades 4 to 6 from a selected primary school in each ECCB member country. The sessions are interactive and focus on the roles and functions of the ECCB, money and the economy, budgeting and saving, trade, culture, technology, and international affairs. The C.W. Prescott Primary School is the ECCB's mentorship school here in SVG. The Children's Connection radio program is also being aired on its radio stations in the other 7 ECCB member countries.